Hello and welcome back to the Hellraiser YouTube channel. Please guys, if you enjoy the blogs, give us a subscribe and to support us. Okay, so today's blog I'm going to talk about the fight we've just seen with Jorge Linares and Vasyl Lomachenko. I've got to say, to me the fight was mesmerising. I mean, I was glued to it. I've never seen a better performance where both boxers performed so high. I was enthralled by it. I didn't like. Quite often, I watch fights and I sort of think, oh, I'd like this guy to beat this one for whatever reason. This one, I just wanted to see a good fight, and I'm really happy that they both performed to such a high level. I thought because there was different factors. I think I mentioned in the blog before the fight. I had fears of them sort of nullifying each other, and it could get quite scrappy. What a brilliant fight. And the person I watched it with actually mentioned to me, I won't mention their name, I was watching it, and he said, oh, but Linares was exhausted. And I mean, Linares was tired. I didn't think he was exhausted. Because what my buddy was saying as we're watching it was Linares was so tired that he wasn't defending himself. I didn't agree. I thought, I had Linares 1 point down, and I thought that Linares actually knew he was down. I think he knew he wasn't in front, and because of that, I think he was gambling. I mean, if you watch at the start of the 10th round, he tends to stand that little bit longer and go looking for Lomachenko. And I mean, he caused big problems to Lomachenko. I mean, Lomachenko throughout the fight didn't look as confident and aggressive as he often does. He was complaining about being hit around the back, and he was. I mean, Linares, as we said in the blog, very like he's going to be punching around the back and punching low and trying to rough Lomachenko up, and he did that very effectively. I think on the official scorecards after 9 rounds, they were even. So it was a close fight, but it was just a fight where, from the way that Linares was actually conducting himself, I felt like he seems to think he's behind, and I think what happened in the 10th is that for me it looked like more like Linares is gambling. He's maybe throwing caution to the wind more and more, and he's standing for longer in front of Lomachenko, and really that he needed to stand for short periods at a time and then adjust, then move, then again, and then move again, and throw and move again, and with lateral movement, not backwards and forwards movement. So he was pressuring Lomachenko, and that was very effective. But I think because he thought he was behind, he started thinking, right, now I've got to take this guy out of it. I've got to get him out because and that shows somewhat of his fighting spirit. And I saw a thing on social media which I should not take any notice of, which was saying about Lomachenko sort of put Linares out or made him quit. That really annoyed me. I don't think that Linares quit. He fought as much as he could. You can see he really struggled to get on his feet, and the guy was crippled. He didn't quit. He was crippled. I mean, he was incapacitated. And what do they want? They want the referee to make the fight carry on at that point. So Linares ends up getting he couldn't defend himself. They stopped. He didn't quit. The man deserves. He was carried out on his shield, and he deserves to get the credit, because quite apart from the technical brilliance that those two displayed, they showed so much heart. You know, Linares literally, I mean, I've heard the expression, he fought till his back teeth were knocked out, and Linares and Lomachenko, they both did that. I mean, Lomachenko was complaining throughout from different things. He was well out of his comfort zone, and I think, firstly, that the parties that made the fight, I think if I had a hat on, I would take it off to them for that, because there has been a tendency, certainly Bob Arum and Top Rank have been heavily criticised in not so long ago for overprotecting guys. You know, like Pacquiao was sort of maybe kept at a certain level for longer than what we hoped as viewers to see him. Well, maybe because, Arum seems to be a very astute. I've worked with Top Rank quite a bit, and their matchmaking team's very strong. You know, they've got several matchmakers, and they're all like proper boxing sort of knowledgeable people. they're probably very good, in a good position to give Bob Arum advice. And I think my gut feeling is, I think Arum thinks he's got the best guy in the division, and he's not afraid to put him in with Jorge Linares. He's not afraid. I think now they'll make the Mikey Garcia fight, and that's a good fight. And I think Lomachenko wins that as well. And I think that Arum will think that his guy wins it. And I mean, there's definitely not a foregone conclusion, but I think I'd have to favour Lomachenko, and I think Lomachenko will be the betting favourite for that fight. And I think Arum, because Bob Arum believes that his guy is the best and will win, that's what's making now these fights possible to make, because Bob just, he'll put the offer on the table so the fighters can see that's where they can make the most money. And I mean, for example, this fight last night, I mean, what a brilliant fight, and a good bit of business for everyone concerned, because Lomachenko can certainly come back to the ring and to bigger and better things, because he's coming off a win. Linares also, I think, now can come back, and he's lost his world title, but he certainly marked a lot of people in a positive way from that performance he put, and he really pushed Lomachenko beyond anything we've ever seen him be pushed before. I mean, for one, he was dropped, and that was a genuine knockdown. It wasn't a heavy concussive knockdown. It looked like he caught him square, but absolutely a genuine knockdown. And there was other things apart from the knockdown, actually, that made me think, okay, he's way more than held his own. I mean, he really pushed Lomachenko to the limit. And I mean, like I say, Lomachenko now, he can come back, and hopefully they make the Garcia fight, because I think that's the fight everybody wants to see. And I don't really understand why. I mean, it looks, to a neutral, that I'd say I am in this, it looks like Garcia is trying to avoid Lomachenko and Linares, which he himself would say, no, I'm not. But just I'm the neutral spectator. That's what it's sort of how I would interpret that. Now, I think for these guys, it's going to make sense for all of them on a pay-per-view basis, for them to make that fight. Now, Bob Arum obviously has ties into ESPN, and he seems to be fairly loyal to them. But this is a fight, it definitely belongs on pay-per-view, and the fact that it's Mikey Garcia, I think, makes it a foregone conclusion that it will be pay-per-view, and maybe on one of the big American networks can do that deal. And what a fight that will be. I mean, obviously they've probably got to recover and get their business done first, but I think that's certainly now on the, if not the immediate horizon, it's at least a fight that's on the horizon that we can see. And those are the kind of fights we want to be seeing. That was brilliant. There's no other word for it. It was absolutely brilliant. What a good fight. Massive effort. They've both written themselves into my memory for the rest of my days now, just on that performance. That was the equivalent of a Leonard Hagler or a Leonard Hearns, those kind of fights. That was a brilliant fight. It was brilliant technical performances. They didn't cancel each other out, really. I mean, the movement was phenomenal. It was just spectacular to see. I mean, you had a southpaw who was moving to the left. You had an orthodox who was able to box against a southpaw, move right, move left, throw punches from both angles. Lomachenko's movement was absolutely brilliant. Linares stuck to him and cut the ring space down better than I've ever seen anyone cut the ring space down against Lomachenko. And another day, Linares could have got the win there. He wasn't far off. I think he gambled, he took a chance, he got hit with a great shot. He did not quit. He was stopped because he couldn't carry on. But credit to him, credit to both of them. Anyway, guys, see you very soon. We've got a big fight coming up next week with Warrington versus Selby, so I'll be covering that. And please give us a subscribe to the Hellraiser blog. Cheers, guys. See you then. Bye-bye.